How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Roar. I think on my last channel I covered a couple songs from Sleep Token. I think they're phenomenal. I think they really just have the coolest idea behind ultimately making the music be the experience. Obviously, they have visuals to go along with it, but who they are isn't the important thing. As a creatively minded person myself, I love that idea. But yeah, I just think they've been given such unfair treatment in the popular music side of things, because they don't fit a particular box one way or another. People are willing to just dismiss them as just garbage, which is unfortunate. I saw a lot of people were checking out Euclid. I honestly have not really sat down with some of their music in a bit, so I'm very excited to check this out. So let's just jump into it. Oh, that's very pretty.
Just run it back, give me 5 whole minutes. I am Victor on the inside burning. I've got a ghost in the hallway grinning, and a heavy head that won't stop turning. If my fate is a bad collision, and if my mind is an open highway, give me the twilight two-way vision. Give me one last ride on a sunset skylake.
Oh. I heard it. The orchestral open voice stuff kind of coming through. That's something Vessel's obviously super good at. He's able to deliver such beautiful vocalizations without going into crazy mixing and studio stuff to make it sound a particular way. I mean, I know they know how to do that, but I'm just saying this band errs on the side of just straight vocal talent instead of like, hey, I can make it sound really pretty in the studio. I was just thinking about some of the lyrics because it felt cryptic in some ways, but also pretty straightforward. Like, if my fate is a horrible collision, but my mind is an open highway, like it just seems like it's that juxtaposition between, how we have opportunity, or at least in our minds, it feels like the world is our oyster. We can do so much, but because of what we do to ourselves, or like just how life is a struggle, they said, I have a ghost in the hallway and it's grinning. A ghost of the past is indicative of mistakes that we've made or someone that we've hurt, especially if they're grinning. It's like, are you grinning maliciously, or are you grinning because, hey, your past doesn't have to define you? So I feel like it's a question about balancing who we've been and what we continually do to ourselves, I think, versus possibility. That's just my assumption here so far. His voice is so good. Ooh, okay. I thought it was gonna explode into crazy metal stuff. I don't know, man. Like, I'm such a sentimental person. Like anytime someone genuinely talks about the walls closing in, because it doesn't matter if you're famous, doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you have everything you could possibly want, doesn't matter how. I mean, none of it matters. Like, obviously, there are ways that we can tell someone might be trying to act like, oh, my life is so hard, when it's like, okay, well, you do have a lot of great things that a lot of people don't have. But I think the world pushes the pendulum the other way and assumes that once you reach a certain status, you can't be sad. You can't have issues. You can't have struggles. And that's just not true. There is not a single thing about depression that it cares about. Depression doesn't care how much money you have. Anxiety doesn't care how much you have. None of that even matters. And the other thing, too, that frustrates me about these critics that will just argue, oh, he's being melodramatic. I hear it all the time. with artists. It's like as soon as you reach a certain status, you're not allowed to talk about pain, or else we're just going to assume you're doing it as a bad actor. It's bad faith. You're doing it for attention, which is stupid. But even then, you get rappers that have talked about, hey, more money, more problems. And everyone's like, yeah, that's so true. But then when someone actually sits there and goes, yeah, when the party's over or when, I'm sitting by myself, I feel alone. I feel like I don't have anyone with me. And everyone goes, oh, well, melodramatic. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. And the fact that I don't know anything about Vessel, I don't know anything about his life. I can't look at it and go, oh, yeah, you struggled with this or you struggled with that. I feel like it demands that I pay attention to what's being said and take it at face value. Yeah, I don't know this guy. So am I just going to assume because I don't know anything about him? You're faking it. I don't know.
Just running forward, alive like wires as I see the past on an empty ceiling. I play along with the life signs anyway, but hold to God, you don't know this feeling. Yeah,
Ooh.
reverse, you were all my symmetry. A parallel I would lay my life on. So if your wings won't find you heaven, I will bring it down like an ancient bygone.
Ooh. So I think what he's saying is, my past is on this empty ceiling. I think that's a pretty easy indicator of like you're lying in bed, you're struggling, you're upset, you're kind of looking at the ceiling literally, and then that's where you're thinking about the past, right? But then they're saying like, I hope that you never feel this way. If your wings can't bring you heaven, I'll pull it down to you. So it's like they're wanting that person to have freedom. They're not wanting that person to get caught up in what they deal with. I don't know if that's necessarily an indicator of like, hey, we need to break up because these are the things that I deal with and I don't want you to have to struggle with that. In fact, I want you to have heaven and more. But yeah. And it's so interesting, the juxtaposition from one line to the next. If my future's meant to be a brutal crash and my mind's an open highway, it almost makes me feel of Owl City in some ways, where he kind of had this quirky juxtaposition where the lyrics, every line offset the previous one, and just in a interesting way. So.
Just need to leave this part of me behind.
Ooh. So I think I was right, because he's saying, call me when you get the time. I just need to leave this part of me behind. So he's reaching out saying, hey, call me. I want to reestablish what we got. I just have to put this. That's really pretty. That's pretty. I'm feeling it.
Remember me?
Ooh.
When the rain gathers.
So there again, do you remember me when the rain gathers? Rain, if we're using that as any indication of what we've seen so far, the rain gathers, sorrow comes, bad times come, times where we're upset. The rain gathers, it's going to be a spell of issues. Do you remember me? Do you think about me in those moments? Do you think about who I am or just the bad? Do you remember the things that I'm trying to save you from? Or do you remember me for the me that I'm trying to be? I think is where they're going.
Do you still believe that nothing else matters?
Okay, and do you still believe in me, then nothing else matters. I mean, whether or not you, while I wouldn't ascribe to having any person's viewpoint of you be indicative of what matters as the litmus test for life, I try to ascribe to Jesus being the only thing that matters, because ultimately everyone else's opinion can shift all the time, right? You can be in a good relationship with someone and then they you know, they get upset at you about something and then they just choose to be like, I'll hate you forever now. You know, people can get completely imperfect viewpoints of you and then never want to learn about who you are. That's one of the reasons why, you know, well, anyway, I'm going off topic here, but even though I try to ascribe to a higher being's viewpoint of me over anything else, I get the idea that, hey, it's at least a starting point, right? I mean, how many relationships rely on leaning on each other emotionally and mentally? So.
For me, it's still the autumn leaves. These ancient canopies.
Oh, okay. So here's another thing I like about their style. I feel like it is so tiptoeing over the line of ultimately the bigger story here, that I am a spokesperson for this creature, for this entity. I am the vessel for its words. So when you talk about things like, oh, it still gets me, the autumn leaves, the ancient canopies, I think of like this ancient forest where humans aren't even at. It's all about the, you know, just life kind of existing as is. Just very interesting.
That we used to lay beneath.
Yeah, and then we used to lay beneath. Interesting.
I know the night belongs to you.
Nice. I love the drumming there.
I was broken through.
Oh,
I must be someone new.
you know what? I'm gonna be petty for 1 second, right? I love when voices, the piano, all of that stuff, they like blend together, right? They're all playing the same chords. They're harmonizing with each other. I love that, right? All I was thinking though, because of so many stupid pop songs that throw in piano and it's just a happy-go-lucky song, I was halfway expecting him to be like la 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 la, like just throw in stupid audio stuff to just fill space because it's all happy-go-lucky. I'm glad they haven't, and they're repeating what they're saying. I think that speaks all the more to the bigger purpose of this song. It's not just a relationship song. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this stuff does tie into the lore of their band and that kind of thing, which I love. I love it when you do that. I've said that with VTubers forever. If you have a character, give us lore in your music. I don't want to just hear a happy song. I want to hear something related to you, because you have given us a character, a vision, an idea. Keep it going. So. Ooh, very high note. Ooh, and it's so we were blending the verses together. If my future is a bad collision, we used to lay beneath. That was very, very cool. My mind is an open highway, and then I forgot what they said after that. But that was very, very cool. Okay, so before we shift, I can't even imagine what we're going to be doing here at the end. We still have like a minute, almost a minute and a half left to go. A lot can happen with that. I think what they were talking about earlier with like trying to do away with some of yourself, they at least come from a spot of understanding that that is the transformation that has to happen when they said, I have to be someone new. So I think that's very, very optimistic with like, we had this good time together. I think we can still come back to that. We can still have that. I just have to do away with this part of myself that's not good for either of us, and then we can be together, that kind of thing. I would argue in some cases, you know, it's not just about you fixing yourself for someone else. Because in case anyone's noticed at all, we're all messy. And the more you live life, the more you realize that. Not a single person watching this video or has even heard of Sleep Token, not a single one of you is perfect. You might never let anyone online know about what you struggle with. You might not even let your own real life family or friends know what goes on inside, but you are just as messy as I am. Okay? And I don't say that in a negative sense. I'm letting you know we're all in this together. We're all in this same space. So I don't think the answer with relationships is, oh, I have to fix myself and then you'll want me. Because that person is just as messy as you are. They might just not even be as self-aware about it. I do love any song where someone is self-aware and they are taking those cognitive steps to better themselves. It's something that I don't like about most pop music. It's something I don't like about most country music. I get that it makes it relatable, that we struggle with things and whatever, but if you're not being proactive about fixing yourself, I don't want to hear that song over and over and over. Anyway. Okay, different piano. Ooh, okay. So they talked about a vine. I couldn't hear the first part of that. But constantly intertwined like lovers. And I think for the last time that you're mine. But it's not meant to be is what the image that I'm getting. So it's like we're just constantly intertwined, but not actually coming together. We're just meant to have this constant back and forth, but not actually have a union. Yeah, please give me the night. Like I'm wanting one more chance. It feels like it kind of airs itself to the fruitlessness of an endeavor. And I don't feel like that fruitlessness has to do with the part of his character that he's wanting to do away with. I don't think that's it. Because he was so proactive about like, hey, there's this thing about me that I need to do away with. I think it's got to be something more related to the lore of the band, something like that about him himself, that maybe he can't dedicate himself to this person because I have this other aspect of me that takes precedence over that. That's just my thoughts. But please, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. This was a beautiful song. This is just beautiful. I love this stuff. And yeah, I don't get how people like Anthony Fantano and Meat Canyon and all those guys, whether or not they're joking, can just be so flagrantly dismissive of a band like this. It doesn't matter if they're famous. I mean, I know every band falls into that, but I don't get why we have to always perseverate that. Why do we always have to act like every band sucks as soon as they get big, that every band is worthy of ridicule? I mean, wouldn't so much more get done in this world if we just were supportive of the stuff that's good? I don't know. That's all I have to say about that. Please go to the link in the description, support these guys if you enjoyed this, and that's all I gotta say. See you next time.